Hello everyone. First of all, I just want to say Merry Christmas if you're watching this Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, after Christmas. Hope you had a good Christmas. But yeah, Merry Christmas to you all, and thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited to give this my review of The Matrix Resurrections. Yes, that is The Matrix Resurrections, which is the fourth installment in the Matrix franchise. It's been 18 years since the Revolutions was released, and I always thought that I never thought that they would ever make another Matrix, but I always kind of thought, if they ever did want to do it, I was totally down with it, regardless of how I feel about the third one or the second one or whatever. I'm all for, coming back to it and seeing what you can come up with, taking risks. So, yeah, especially with, many of the original cast returning, Lana Wachowski returning to direct. So, yeah, I was totally on board and really excited to see it. So now that I have, let's go ahead and get into this review. Like I said, this is going to be non-spoiler, just going to give my brief thoughts. There will be a spoiler video because I do have a lot I want to say. However, let's get right into it. I will describe the way I felt about this movie was I'm kind of iffy on it. There's a lot of highs and there's a lot of lows. First of all, I'll start off by saying that I love the first act, of course, just kind of getting into the boom, where are we now, after everything that took place in the original trilogy. Make it sound like it's Star Wars, but after the trilogy ended, I liked where we picked up off. I liked everything that was going on with Neo and everything that was happening. The first act I was completely bought in. I was like, oh, here we go. We could be in for a good one. However, in the second act, okay, here's how I would say it. First act is like, here's where we are. Second act, where are we going? When we started going, it started to lose me a little bit. There was a lot of just new ideas and, that they wanted to bring into this movie that I just wasn't a fan of. Some of those were just things of mythology involving the Matrix, the relationship between man and machine, everything that made the original Matrix such a classic, where they try to expand upon that here and bring some new things. I wasn't a fan of all of that. In fact, most of it I kind of was like a little worried about, and to the point, to be honest with you, to the point where I was like really concerned that this thing was going to end up being a disaster. It wasn't a disaster, but in the second act there, I was like, oh my God, there's no way they could possibly come back from it. Thankfully, in the third act, after everything that was set up in the second, I was like, okay, I kind of see where they were going with that, how everything kind of wraps up in the end. I'm like, I, for the most part, was pretty big fan of how things ended up turning out in the movie. So yeah, just going off of that, how I said everything, as you can see, a lot of mixed emotions on it. However, I will say that this movie is by far the best since the original, and that's saying something because I hate the third one. I think the third one is a disaster. It's a CGI like catastrophe. However, The Matrix Reloaded, there is a lot of good in there. I would say that is a pretty average to below average movie for me. So for this, I would say this movie is at least slightly above. I mean, if I had to give a grade, that's what I'm saying. If you asked me to describe how I felt about this movie in like one sentence, like, okay, did you like it, did you hate it, or whatever, I couldn't really give a straightforward answer because there's so much that happens in this thing, which that I want to talk about, but for another video. But there's so much that happens, and however, I think that the good, by maybe a substantial amount, outweighs the bad. And I will say that I'm happy that this movie was made. I'm not here saying, oh, this movie sucked. They should have just left it at 3. No, I'm happy that this movie was made. So I guess that's saying something. And yeah, I mean, I watched the movie yesterday. I wasn't able to do this review, so that's kind of good for the sake of this video. It allowed me to kind of digest it a little bit more. And as the day has gone on, I've just liked it actually more and more, to be honest with you. Immediately walking out of the theater, I was like, I don't know, but now I'm kind of like, yeah, I can say that I did like this movie, and I might, for the sake of just kind of getting a more finite, concrete like feeling of how I feel about it, I might check it out again, to be honest with you. But the more I think about it, the more I like it. So I guess that's a good thing. So yeah, that's pretty much going to be my non-spoiler thoughts. Like I said, I didn't really give too much details as to everything that goes on because I just want to keep this as non-spoiler for everybody out there as possible. But please stay tuned for my spoiler video because I have a lot that I want to get to, and I hope you can all join me for that. But for now, that's going to be my non-spoiler review of The Matrix Resurrections. Please let me know what you thought of the movie in the comments. If you like this video, please leave a thumbs up. And please consider subscribing to the channel. I know I'm just hella inconsistent on this thing, but as you can see, hopefully you noticed that I kind of got a little bit of a new light setup, thankfully. So I'm really gonna try hard to just really get more movie reviews out there. The next one that you can look forward to is Don't Look Up, you know, the Leonardo DiCaprio joint. So please look forward to that. And thank you so much for watching. And once again, Merry Christmas to you all.